I'm
Okay.
about to go live. All right.
We're live. Oh, hello, welcome, welcome. Say hello to me. I'm in a very good mood today.
Have you? Yeah. Hello. 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 I just let me just reserve my comments
You
and
want to
allow you
reserve your
to,
comment?
yes, just allow you to have fun. Good vibes all the way.
Play. You know that with adolescents, there's no darling moment. Even if they
No
keep
darling,
quiet
no
like
darling moment at all. I absolutely agree with you. No darling moment.
no darling. Say hello. Okay, I see some people saying hello. Okay. Welcome, welcome. Almost said I like the vibe already.
Absolutely.
That's the
Me too.
spirit.
Me too. Me too. I'm joining you in spirit already. My spirit is joining you
Your
to
spirit is
dance.
just
Yes.
okay. All right. Okay. Dun, 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 okay, let's start. Let's start before I turn the episode to a dancing episode.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are watching us right now, you're at the right place. And I really do appreciate you for joining me again this weekend. You know, I'm not going to stop talking about mental health. And however, we're going to increase the awareness, however, we're going to decrease the stigma, I'll go right for it. But it's never ever going to be in a boring way because mental health is just what we all want, what we all need, and it shouldn't be something we'll be talking about like under the covers. So let's get into it this week. Thank you for joining. Please, if you haven't given StreamYard the permission to show your name, if you can just slip in your name so I can acknowledge you as we're watching. Okay, so welcome. Please share this if you want. It will be great. It might help somebody. Okay, and please join us with questions, with comments, and let's make this another fun-filled episode. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Okay. So I have a special guest in the house today. And when I say special, I really mean special. Okay. This is one of my friend's wife that accepted me. You know what it's like when you have a male friend or when you have a male friend and you get to meet their wives. You know, they're either like, who are you? Or they go like, hey, hi, what? So let's know what you're about. See, she is one of those who accepted me with both arms open. And she has been so, in fact, our husband, my friend, who is my friend, I can't remember the last time I spoke with him. I don't even know what's going on, but she has just been a sweet, sweet, supportive person. And then when I got to know that she works with adolescents, it's been a very productive connection. Dr. Fatimah Odushote is the founder of Adolescent Health Hub. She, when I met her, she wasn't even in Nigeria. She was away studying all about adolescent, and she has done a lot of fantastic things on the ground, in the field with adolescent. And there's a lot that she knows. There's a lot she's going to share today, and we'll merge our experience with with mental health. What can we do? What's going on? And what are the solutions? Please, everybody, welcome Dr. Fatimah Odushote.
Yes. I can't even say anything. I'm just flabbergasted by the introduction. So let
I
me just
know.
say let me just say thank you very much and for this opportunity. I feel so honored, so privileged to be live on your show. And then you've been an amazing person. You're always show you've been so dedicated, committed to mental health. And I kudos to you, kudos to all those that support you behind the scenes. You're an amazing person, and I hope with you we can gradually see a change in narrative for mental health all over the world. So, thank you once again for having it. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fatima. Thank you. It is also a great privilege to have you. So, without wasting one more second, we're going right to today's topic. Dr. Fatima, you work with adolescents every day, and you don't work with them from afar, you work with them closely. And I want you to just start by telling us, this mental health platform. Can you just give us a glimpse into what is going on in the adolescent world? What are they saying? What's happening?
Okay, so thank you very much once again. I'll just start. Like you stated, I'm the founder of Adolescent Health Hub. And so basically, adolescents are those aged between 10 to 19 years. And the peculiarity about them is the fact that they are not children and they are not adults. So they are people that are currently going through a lot physiologically, psychologically, emotionally. So they are going through body changes and they are hoping, they are willing that people would understand what they are going through so that they can have that support. So, in a nutshell, those are adolescents. And what we focus on at Adolescent Health Hub is basically to ensure that we are there to support them, to let them understand what they are going through as adolescents, the body changes they are going through, to tell them it's normal. And then we also focus not just on the body changes, we look at other aspects in totality in terms of nutrition, in terms of mental health, in terms of just totality of just like human beings, looking at them as human beings, and then looking at the mental health aspect. Just like everybody, they have mental health issues as well. Like like adults, they have mental health issues, and so in summary, is they have issues with because they are going through a lot of changes, body image. So they struggle with body images, and that affects. They have anxiety. At times they get bullied because of what they are going through. Because some of them, they don't go at the same pace. Some would have delayed maturity, so they have bullying, and this could at times result in depression. For some could even go into suicidal thoughts or even taking their lives. So in summary, adolescents are people going through a lot of body changes physiologically, emotionally, that need their support. Unfortunately, they are not, it's not always there for them. So that is the essence why we are having this conversation, to share the light, to light up, to let us go into the world of adolescents, to know what they are actually going through, so that we can be able to support them, to be able to help them, and then they can turn out to become healthy adults, and also we have better future generation. So in summary, that is what who adolescents are, and a glimpse into what their mental health state is like. So thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So thanks for really helping us define this population that we're talking about, and highlighting the fact that just as every human being has different phases of life and different aspects of their lives, adolescents have all this to deal with too. But there's this thing peculiar to adolescents. They are sandwiched between two popular generations, like two popular populations. The childhood phase, we have also the adulthood. And they're somewhere in between, transitioning from one to the other. And a lot of things, it's overwhelming for parents to really cope and deal with the changes they're going through. It's a lot of burden on them to even navigate the changes going on in their lives, and also leaving that shield or the shelter that they have of being children. Knowing this, what are the, let's just say, four things, what are the four things that are really that are going on in the world of adolescents that you think that if we focus on all these things as it relates to mental health, what would those four things be?
Okay, thank you very much. And luckily, I already mentioned some of those things. So I think number one is the fact that that body changes that they go through, which links up to anxiety for them. They are going through, I'm just maybe yesterday I was just a child, and then suddenly, as a girl, maybe perhaps I start menstruating, I start noticing that I have breast changes. So that body changes is something we really need to pay attention to because it gives them anxiety. And based on those we've interacted with on the field, especially for girls, you realize that they have issues with anxiety because they don't understand what is going on. For some of them, yes, some of them are lucky to have parents that have told them of what to expect, but a larger percentage, unfortunately, don't have that privilege. So we realize they are confused, they are worried, and then to ask questions for them is a challenge. So they have that anxiety, like, okay, what is really going on with me? I have my breast is not even as, some of them, they are not even as growing faster as growing as fast as some of their colleagues. So they have that problem with body image. That's number one, and that leads to anxiety for some of them. And I'll give a typical example. Like when we go to the field, some of them, they want to ask questions. They can't even ask questions. They are scared. They don't know what to expect. Or in some cases, at times you menstruate this month, then the next 2 months you're not menstruating. They're anxious, like, oh, what is going on? I didn't even get close to a boy or something. Am I pregnant or something? They are confused. So that is there. They don't understand that physiology that is suddenly coming through for them. So that's number one. Then another thing is that they struggle with also is bullying. And then before I go to bullying, I'll give another example, using myself as an example now, as an adolescent when I was growing up too. I didn't grow up as fast as some of my friends. So, and you get to realize they make jest of you like, see, maybe she's not even feeding well, So affected my psychic in a way. Like, okay, is something wrong with me? Like, okay, my breast is not even showing for now. And some of them have even started, growing faster. So that's another example, giving my own life lived experience of such anxiety with coupled with bullying. So that's number one. The number two is that bullying aspect. So it could come as verbal or as, physical for some of them. And also still links again to body image, body changes. So because, and I'll give an example. We saw that on the field when we went for some of the interventions we've done, Snake Island, the ones we've done in Abuja, giving examples, like they have case of bullying. And also there was an instance where we invited a boy, a live chat. I wouldn't mention his name just to protect his identity. Where he said when he was growing up, he had that challenges of some of his friends making jest of him, trying to molest him and all of that. And then unfortunately, the mother or the parents weren't so there to support or to help to say, okay, these things you are going through is normal. He had to rely on reading on the internet to get information. So that bullying was there for him. Luckily, also, he was able to overcome. So I've mentioned two things: anxiety, bullying, still leading back again to body image and body changes. And then for some of them, it also goes on to depression, because when so it's like a vicious cycle or a process from this lowest to the highest. So for some of them also they go into depression because of these things that they struggle with. So by and large, it's more of anxiety, bullying, depression, and then in some cases committing suicide because of they can't really get help or seek people to support them or sit them down to tell them that this things they are going through is normal or is okay. So basically those are the most common things they struggle with: anxiety, bullying, depression. Yes. And also the peer pressure also comes in. So I think later we go into the underlying causes of the problem or the things that other things apart from body image that could also result in this mental health problems that they struggle with. So yes, so I've mentioned like three. So maybe I should just stop there for now and then we'll keep progressing and then shedding more light.
Okay, so yes, you've mentioned very important points and factors that affect adolescents. There are underlying issues. I just want to add, like from my clinical experience, that the body image is really a big deal, and with the internet, what it's one thing that their body is changing and they're anxious about what is going on with me. For some of them, they're growing really fast and are like, oh, why do I look like an adult already? What's going on with me? For some of them, they're like, oh, all my classmates have all these things, like you said, and I don't even have it. For the males, they're like, maybe they don't have mustache already, they have to start using spirit, they have to just to feel among, or their voices start changing,
Mhm.
and they're trying to really struggle between what is going on with them and what the society accepts, and then the image that social media is projecting and what they want to put out there, so that they don't miss out, or so that they fit into what is acceptable in their climb. So that's one. And to say a little bit about the menstrual cycle thing, in my own days, and I say it, I did not get anyone to tell me this is what to expect. And a lot of females are going through these issues as well. And when we talk about adolescent, we have to realize that the socioeconomic gap is very wide. Some people, their parents can afford everything. Some adolescent, their parents can afford anything. And when we are discussing yesterday, we talked about when some of them have to exchange something to get what they want.
What
And
they
I
want.
remember that there was a time you did something about sanitary pad, or how to maybe recycling sanitary pad and stuff. What brought about that? And should parents really be talking to their, I mean, adolescents about this firsthand, or should it happen before they talk to them about it?
Okay, thank you very much. You actually asked two questions, packaged in one. So I'll
Yeah.
start with the last thing. Yes. And my response is ideally, we are meant to prepare their minds before it starts, such that when it comes, it doesn't come as a shock. It doesn't come as something that is not expected or out of the blues. So you are saying that, okay, fine, it's something that would happen definitely. We can't jump over it. All our kids will pass through adolescence if they are not, if something doesn't happen, like maybe they are dead or something. So we are meant to start before, like maybe 2 3 years. We know that for girls, some even start as early as 9 these days, 9 10. So you are saying that, okay, by when they are 7, start talking to them. See, in 2 3 years time, this is what is going to happen. Your body will start changing. You start having your breast development. You are going to start having hair on your armpit, in your pubic area, and also the fact that you're going to start menstruating. And just know that it is normal. Okay, it's normal. These are the things you should expect. These are the things that mean abnormal. And when it happens, just know that mom is here to support you. Dad is here to listen to you. We are here to support you. Just come and tell us. So you are preparing their mind. You know, you are people are like they will say that in Yoruba. They will say you are watering the ground. So prepare their mind is better. Don't wait till it starts. So I hope I've answered that part of your question. Then you talked about what brought about issue of making reusable parts for some adolescent girls. Yes, and the reason is we realize that in some communities they can't. It's not sustainable to give them disposable parts every time. It's not sustainable, especially when they themselves they cannot afford it, and it's only NGOs that give it out. So you realize the best option in quotes is to teach them how to make reusable parts. So that is why we had to go into that time. Teach them how to make reusable such that for those parts they can use it for 2 to 3 years. So you teach them how to take care of it, how to wash, how to after they've washed, cleaned it, how to package it such that they can use it for like 2 3 years again. So that was what brought about that, because you realize you can't keep giving disposable parts every time. So we had to think of, okay, what was the best other options that we could use to ensure that they have continuous access to to parts whenever they needed it, and they don't have to fall back on saying, okay, if somebody doesn't give me money and I don't have sex with him, he won't give me parts. So that was the reason we had to do that for the girls.
Let me ask you this. You know, some of the changes that adolescents go through as we talk about menstruation for the females, it's also this hormonal surge in males
Yes.
and wanting to copulate or wanting
Have
to
sex.
have
Yes.
sex. How do you work on this? Do you talk to adolescents about this? What are they saying?
Okay. And then, so yes, the reality is in Nigeria, we try to pretend like we are religious. Oh no, I also be like, you don't talk about those things. Oh,
Eh,
God forbid.
Dr.
Or
Fatima.
eh, do you understand? So we try to pretend,
Okay.
but we realize that these kids are right. Some of them are even already having sex, and you have to talk about it.
Right.
Some already have, they've done abortion. Some already, they've had kids already. So you have to talk. It's something we have to talk. You can't shy away from it because we know that it's something we all have we passed through. And then, like you said, the hormones are waking up.
Yeah.
You are attracted to the opposite sex. So you have
Right.
to sit them down to tell them, yes, it's normal to have feelings. It's normal, but these are the things you should do. Okay, now you are still in school
Uh-huh.
and you want to think, okay, maybe you should just wait till when you're ready. And if you know you can't wait, then you know that you can also use something to protect yourself. So you have to talk about it. You don't just talk about okay menstruation and then pretend as if the other aspect is not happening. So it's both ways. You have to talk about sexual and reproductive health, menstrual health, and you're talking about nutrition, you're talking about their mental health. Because at the end of the day, you realize that if you don't talk about sexual and reproductive health, when something happens, like maybe they have abortion or they get pregnant, it's going to affect their mental health. In
Right.
some cases, it could affect nutrition, affect, and then the vicious cycle continues on and on. Then you have an unhealthy
Self-esteem
situation.
issues, they
Yes. So it's something we can't shy away from. We have to talk about all these things and not pretend as if it's not happening or it's not going to happen.
yeah. So on this note, I want to add this part. So you know, there as we're talking about socioeconomic gap, there's also the part about this is a time where then secondary school for those in Nigeria, they're going to middle school, high school for those outside, other countries. And some of them go to boarding schools. We know I went to a boarding school when in my secondary school. I went to boarding school for 5 years, and even in university, I had to be in a boarding school. So a lot also goes on in the boarding institution. And
Yes.
this is where you have females experimenting sexual,
Yes.
things because, well, there are no males around for those who go to to one gender school, boys only or girls only school. We have a lot going on in the dormitories as well. And there's so many things that you do not want to feel out of place. And when all those things are going on, that your child is gone for how many weeks now? Maybe like 3 months. They're in school. You only go for visiting days to spend about 2 hours with them, and you leave. There's really a struggle for parents, and I'm imagining myself even as a parent. If you have to talk to your children about these things, what I'm seeing in the clinical aspect is that the children are willing to talk more when their parents are not there. You want to express what is going on. And the factors are is either my dad is a disciplinarian, he won't understand, or my dad is we're so religious, this would be a taboo, or there's so many things they can't express because of the parents' fundamental principles or ways of doing things. How do we balance this with what you're seeing on the field? Because you talk to these people, you connect with them. How are parents supposed to juggle that? What's going on in school? All this experimentation, especially for those who are out of their parents' side for a long time. And, how do we get them to know what is happening? What should we expect? How open can parents be?
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, thank you. It's true. Because a lot of us when we were growing up, our parents were very, very strict, so very, very strict. Even to talk to them on some other things was difficult. But the truth is, if you want our kids to be successful, we need to find a way. And like I stated earlier, is by starting early. So you are not waiting till when your kid is 12, you want to be his or her best friend. It's maybe too late. So it means that right from maybe when they were 5, 6, learn to, break that barrier. Let them see you as somebody they can talk to, play with them, have fun with them, relax with them. play games together, just to ensure that you give them that soft landing whenever they want to talk to you. Definitely, as they grow older, that shift would come, but let it not be so apparent. So what I'm trying to say is that as early as possible, let's try to be their friend. Let's talk to them as early as possible, tell them on what to expect and what not to expect, and also the fact that we shouldn't let it be as if it's always carrot and stick, or how did it say it, like you want to talk as if you are a soldier always holding something like a cane. So
Yeah.
yes, so we should try as much as possible to be soft with them. Let's also learn from the mistakes perhaps some of our parents made, that they were too strict on us, and then we couldn't even have conversations with them. So like I said, first thing, early as possible, be their friends. Make it easy for them to have conversations with you, joke with them, all of that, and then be preparing their minds gradually. Like, see, you're going to get to a stage whereby you don't want like feel like talking to mommy and daddy, but you should know that mommy and dad, they've gone through this stage you are going through, and your hormones will wake up to feel like you are the boss, you are in control. But most times you are acting on emotions, and it's dangerous. So you need to learn to listen to mommy. When you have problems, talk to mommy. Your friends, yes, they would say they know, but they are still in the same category as you are. And then also not being too strict with them. Then we shouldn't also hide under the umbrella of, oh, I'm too busy. Yes, it's very demanding, truth be told, to be a parent, and also to to juggle those two things is not easy. But then we should also remember that feeding our kids is not easy for us too, but we try to do it, to put food on their table. So same thing should apply to trying to talk to them, being their best friend. So we should try as much as possible to balance it, such that we are churning out a well-rounded adolescent, a well-rounded child that we are going to be proud of. So I think that is what I would say regarding that aspect.
Good. Thank you. I think you need to have a session where you will tell parents how we will talk to their adolescents, because in the clinical setting, I must tell you, it's easy for me to be a clinician, for me to be the best provider for my clients. But when it comes to your own children, to navigate that balance is not that easy. It is not easy, and like you said, parents are busy. There's so much we have to do, and we have technology to taking some of the time away from them. Yes, Oida, thank you so much. Oida here is saying balance. We need to balance it, and I agree with you. But the balancing part, I think a lot of parents need more information on that, because it's way too much that we all have to do. Now, there's something we discussed at length yesterday behind the scenes, Dr. Fatima, and we cannot even proceed without talking about it at this stage, and that is this pandemic about illicit drug use among adolescents. First, I want to know, what are you hearing from the adolescent? Because they're like our ears on ground. They don't talk to us. Okay, what are adolescents saying, and what's going on with this drug issue with adolescents?
Okay. So you are going to pay for this hearing, this gist that you want to hear. You are going to pay. You are going to pay for
We're just
this
trying
gist.
to understand adolescents and do our best. So
Yeah.
be the
Yes.
mediator for us.
Yes. A lot is happening. A lot is happening. And I'm sure you are aware of some of these things. And it's the fact that adolescents are exposed to a lot of social vices. And unfortunately, because of the way things are in our country, like using Nigeria as an example, it's becoming so worrying or worrisome. And so I'll give a practical example. When we went for an intervention somewhere, and so thank you. Yeah, we went for intervention somewhere, and then we were just trying to, try to see to get information from the adolescent. Like, okay, have you even been exposed to, there's something about adolescents. You don't ask questions like, okay, do you take drug? And you say yes. Really? Are you joking? No, 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 no. So we had to use, corner style to be asking. So what my colleague did then was, she was, hey, do you know this thing they call? And they were, before you know it, they were telling us all sorts of names that they call drugs locally. So invariably, you could just deduce that they were exposed to drugs. You could just deduce. And these were kids that were not even up to 20 years. They were exposed. You could tell that they were exposed to drugs. They know. You were just telling. Someone even say, no, you called that one is called so, you know. Even some of the girls. So it means that adolescents are exposed to drugs. Some of them have started taking, some of them are just still experimenting. And it's normal because of the stage they are in. They are, they want to explore. Their hormones are waking up. They want to explore. They want to do all sorts. So the truth is, adolescents are increasingly more exposed to drugs, different kinds, cannabis, codeine. That's under opioids, all sorts, all sorts of cough syrups and all of that. So they are exposed to those things, and it's becoming more. And it's also linked to a lot of factors. Fact that apart from peer pressure, which is perhaps very common in most society, issues with unemployment, poverty, the fact that some parents can't even afford what their kids want, so they get thrown, find themselves on the streets. And so yeah, adolescents are exposed to drugs, and it's sad. And then also it has other interwoven complications. For girls, they get exposed to sexual exploitation. They could from there they could get teenage pregnancies, sexually transmitted infections, and then it keeps going on and on and on like that. And then you also realize that for different communities, what some adolescents are exposed to is quite different from another community. But over and above is the fact that our adolescents are exposed to drugs, and it's becoming more worrisome.
Very worrisome. And this is the part where I'm going to say vaping is the in thing. You know how things start like it's the norm and like there's no big deal. Like, I mean, it's just what we do. It's just a thing. It's not, vaping is dangerous. I'm saying it now as a mental health provider, as a clinician. I see adolescent. See, it's from, oh, it's just vaping. It's call it what it is. It is causing more damage than the harm that is doing. No matter how attractive it is, no matter the flavor they're using, no matter how, what it's supposed to be for. And regardless of whether adolescents around, I mean, adults around you are using it or not, I want us to let our kids know that it is not healthy. And so there's a thin line for parents. There's a thin line between, okay, this is what is healthy, this is what is going on. There's really no big deal because your adolescents will come and tell you, why are you different? Why does everything have to be hard? Why can't I do this? And it will seem as if you're pushing them away. It's good for you to let them know that this is not right for this reason. And at the same time, good for you to let them know that they can come to you when these things happen. We have a lot of adolescents that are battling addiction.
Yes.
We like to we are actually staying away from the term addiction because of the negative connotation it has. But I've found out that when I'm talking about it as substance use disorder, people don't connect with what I'm saying. In our world, that's what we're using. We're staying away from that term addiction. At least we stop using it in our DSM-5. We call it substance misuse, alcohol and substance misuse disorder. But for everyone listening to me, simplifying it now to saying it to what you understand, there are a lot of adolescents dealing with addiction. And what research has shown is that before a lot of parents even know that their children,
Yeah,
their
we're going
child
far.
is, yes, before they even get to the point where you start knowing, it started at least more than a year before you even start knowing. Because this thing, they do it in such subtle manner. They know you, they know your pattern, they know how to do it. And their friends that introduce them to it tell them this is how you cover it, this is what you do, and they just get into it. And then by the time you're getting to know, it's probably when something is changing. They don't have the supply chain has been cut off, or they don't have enough money, or maybe the friend that supplies it had moved away, or that something has just happened with their supply chain and how they used to do something, and then you get to know. So please, parents, as particularly those of us who are like really spiritual, those of us who are like, I don't want to just say religious, but whom the foundation is religion, or the foundation is our culture. We do not do this, or the foundation is your reputation. Don't spoil my reputation. I'm your dad. This is what people know us to be. You have to be this way. Your kids would hate to disappoint you, but at the same time, they want to do what they have to do. And this is where I would like to ask Dr. Fatima. You know that as we're talking about religious institution, as we're talking about discipline, as we're talking about culture, what do you think is the role of our spiritual organization or religious organization in helping adolescents? Because this is a time where they're getting active in churches, they're getting active in mosques. This is, they're going to do their Quran study, all these sort of things. What role can religious institution play in the lives of adolescents to help them?
Yeah, thank you. Yes. And yes, I think is to for them to realize that religious organizations or environment is not just for religion in quote. Because even if you go to the holy books, the Quran, the Bible, it doesn't just teach us about okay, pray. It teaches us okay, even talking about we go about to get our daily bread, what how to conduct ourselves with our neighbors. So it those books contain they are like compendiums that contain everything how we should live our lives. So what am I trying to say? It means that even in the church or in the mosque, we shouldn't just focus on the spiritual. We should dedicate time to talk about other aspects of our lives like we do they do marriage counseling, yes, but for kids, for adolescents, let's also go to those things, teaching them about okay, body changes, these are the things you go through when you get to this stage, these are the things you should do, and these are what you should go how you should go about it, talking to them about mental health, inviting practitioners to talk about okay, mental health, nutrition, how to take care of your body, these are the things you should do, even as when you are at home or when you are in school, how you should conduct yourself. So we shouldn't just focus on spirituality, because if you realize that even when the body is damaged, the spiritual aspect cannot be fulfilled. So invariably, let it be like how would I put it? Something that is all encompassing. A religious organization should be all encompassing, looking at the physical life of people, physical, social, emotional, psychological, handling those aspects. And even if they don't have people on ground to cover it, invite people that can help you talk to adolescents, talk to children, talk to adults about these things, such that our society can be better off. Because if you look at it, we keep saying, oh, our country, we are so religious, but then we have a lot of issues that we still deal with. It means there are some things we are still lagging behind on that we need to focus on. So that's what I would say. We shouldn't just focus on spirituality in churches, in mosque. Other aspects, invite people to talk to your adolescents, invite people to talk to your children about these things, such that they can when they are not even under your care, they don't go into drugs, they don't do things that will not be happy about. So those are those things that is very, very important that we should hammer on in churches, in mosque. We should go beyond just spirituality. So that's what I would just say about that aspect.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I had a training recently with a group of adolescents, and we were talking about sex and sexual, topics. And the I found out that adolescents wants to know more. I
Yes.
found out that adolescents, they know a lot.
They know a lot. They are so inquisitive.
They know a lot and they still want to know a lot. And the
Yes.
things they want to know more about are the things that we don't talk about in the open,
Yes.
like sex, like drugs, like money, like
Business.
business.
Corporate.
Yes, and like how to fit in, like how is it cool, like how to satisfy parents. And one thing that also jumped at me is that a lot of adolescents are angry. They're angry at the things that their parents have done. They're angry because of absent fathers. They harbor this anger. Like they in their struggle to really deal with their changes and facing life, they're still struggling to identify themselves.
Yes.
You know, when my parents, I see adolescents who are asking questions that why would my father leave me? They're asking questions like, why did my mom abandon me? They want to know these things. As much as it seems everything is going on fine, they are carrying some heavy burden. Adolescents that have their parents having marital issues, that have domestic violence going on in the house, adolescents who see their parents wake up morning and night drinking, adolescents who see their fathers not taking responsibility in the house, adolescents who see their parents struggling. I know of an adolescent that left the house because she could not bear how her father maltreats her mom.
Yes.
And from that end, she just went off. And now she's trying to like beat her for all the things she had done, but she cannot stop talking about it started this way. I was just tired of seeing my mom sleep outside. I was just tired of seeing my father bring another woman into the house and my mom had to vacate the room for her. You see all those things going on in the household that adolescents have to couple with what they are struggling with in their world. Right from the body changes, as Dr. Fatima talked about it, to exam pressure, to academic stress, to fitting in, to the fear of being left out, and to what does my future hold. And to those who want to leave the country, there's a lot going on in the adolescent world.
Yes.
So much. But the ones that I want to highlight here, which I'm praying, I hope that we'll still be able to bring adolescents in so that we hear directly from them tomorrow. But the ones that we don't talk about while we focus on the changes, making emotional decisions, running off, doing drugs, not listening, wanting to be the boss. As we talk about all those things, I want us parents, adults to also look around and see what are we really showing them? What's
Mm.
really going on?
Role
What's
modeling.
really going on in the homes? There's so many toxic families. There's so many toxic environment pushing these children outside. I've had an adolescent told me that, you know what, I have somebody that is like, a man that treats me better than my father treats me. I get everything that I want from this man. So I even though I feel ashamed that I'm doing this thing, but this is where I get the most validation.
Yes.
That's a female. And then we have adolescent male who also want to, who are now, sleeping with big women who are doing all these things so that they can also.
Gigolo.
Gi- what did you say?
Gigolo.
Gigolo. Okay. Who is gigolo? The adolescent or the women?
It's called, I think it's when the younger boy or
Uh-huh.
male sleeps with elderly women. It's called gigolo.
It's called gigolo. Ah,
Yes.
okay. Okay, I didn't know that. It's called gigolo, and they make a lot of money. So some parents don't know that their boys, their own, boys, they are satisfying other women, other elderly women in bed. That they are using them to experiment and to do all sort of things, and they can't come home to talk about all these things.
Yes.
And this is where we now have the resultant effect of depression. We now have anxiety. We now have drugs coming in because that's what helps them to be able to cope with this thing all the time. And when they get to the house, they don't want to spend time with their parents because some parents can just see there's something going on. So they avoid eye contact. They don't sit at the table to eat. This is even families where people sit together and they can eat together. But some families, your parents don't even know where you are. You have housemates, you have, guards, you have people taking care of you. And some families, their parents can't, they have to go work all the time. They don't even know what is going on. So, and then we see them. And to top it all, when they're struggling with these emotional issues or sleeping with eating disorder or sleeping with body image disorder, mental health stigma hold parent back from supporting their kids to seek mental health care. So, I mean, Dr. Fatima had referred people to me and had supported in the way that I can. But she wouldn't even be able to do that without the support of the parents involved. And they were really supportive. The family, they were really supportive of their daughter. They were willing to help. So, Dr. Fatima, as the hub, I want us to really like give us, give us the solution. Let's talk about solution now as we're wrapping up. Let's talk about solution.
Well, I think we've mentioned one. We've actually mentioned two. The first one, when you asked the question about what parents can do and all of that. So, yes, parents, guardians, we have roles to play. And I'm so excited. I'm so happy that in this my mental health matters group, we have a lot of parents here, a lot of guardians, even teachers here, and yeah. So we need to also reflect, and like she said, role modeling. What are we portraying to our adolescents? What do they see when they see us? Who do they see when they see us? What impression do they get? That's number one. Then number two is being present, actually being present, present. Yes, it's not easy. And fortunately, I also have a daughter that is 9. She's going to be 10 next year. It's not easy to parent. That's the truth. Because you have to juggle, go to work, put food on the table. But then we have to keep reminding ourselves that they are our future. Our kids are our future. How do we want them to turn out? So each time we remember that, we should also deliberately, deliberately put a lot of effort into bringing them up appropriately, telling them about, okay, these are the things you would expect as you're growing old, as you're growing up, as you are becoming an adolescent. You would want to have sex, it's normal, but these are how you should go about it. And if peradventure you get pregnant along the way, or you get somebody pregnant, yes, we can make mistakes. So you don't already tell them, if you bring pregnancy into this house, I will kill you. I will kill you, pata pata. So even if she gets pregnant, in fact, she'll just go and do
Till we
abortion.
die.
So it's not easy, yes, but being that aspect of being present as parents, very important. Then number two, as schools, like we talked about yesterday, what we should now think of, okay, as a school owner, what do I want to do in the life of children apart from just talking about education, other aspects about their health, because we realize that if you don't take care of their health, if they get pregnant along the way, it's going to affect their prospects. So, what am I doing to ensure that adolescent health, mental health is well taken care of in my school? How are we intentionally putting efforts in place to ensure that, okay, we have programs that cover their mental health, programs that cover their body images. What do we have in place to ensure this is happening? So it's very, very important. Then that's also we also have to talk to our adolescents as well. Like, okay, we have keep talking to them. You shouldn't get tired. That's the truth. We shouldn't get tired, because a study has shown that psychologically, for adolescents to get over that emotions that they have, that part of the brain to be fully matured, it gets into like almost when they are 30 years before they get fully matured. So you have to keep talking to them, keep talking to them, keep talking to them. And as healthcare professionals as well, yes, at times we get really busy. We should also like Sisi Dayo is doing, Auntie Dayo is doing with our platform. Yes, we should keep talking about these things on social media, during community intervention, in the clinic, wherever we find it. Keep talking about these things, and then not shying away because we feel we are religious or we don't want to talk about some things. The truth is, like you said, these things are happening, whether we like it or not, they are happening. And you'll be shocked. Some people say they are, no, I trust my daughter, my son. If you should sit them down, and if we had secret detector that can detect secrets, some daughters, they've done like 10, 20 abortions that you don't even know, and they just package themselves, you won't know. So we shouldn't shy under the religiosity of, God forbid, I rebuke it in Jesus' name, I will be live in a shaitan regime. We need to talk about those things and then keep talking about it. And also the fact that underlying problems are there in our society. Peer pressure, we can't, that one has been there time immemorial. But also is the fact that issue of having ready access to drugs at times, and then the way we also bring up our child. When we talk about bullying, I give an example. When I was in secondary school, I had two, because I went to two secondary schools, and I had two incidents of bullying like that in quotes. The first one, not a direct link to me, but then we have this set of girls. They were adolescents too, like six of them. You dare not trespass. They will, in fact, they will deal with you. Yes, in school, they were secondary school students, but they could bully anybody and get away with it. Some of them were very huge, some were slim. They'll get away with it. Then another one too, that was even I was a victim of that in a way when in my other secondary school. I just got to that school. Some of these boys they would just laugh at me. There was even a day whereby I was passing, I was just going, and then they put a chair, and I almost stumbled when So do you understand? So it means that as parents, we should also think of the way we parent our kids. It affects the way they treat their colleagues when they're out. So that is talking about bullying, ensuring that you are parenting your kids very well, not telling them to be always be territorial, trying to, so those things are important. So it's about having adolescents, um, they have roles to play, guardians have to, parents have roles to play, religious leaders have roles to play, school owners have role to play. So I'll just stop there for now, and then maybe I'll just chip in some other things as we before we round up.
Great. You mentioned very key stakeholders here. Right from the adolescent themselves to parents, school owners, spiritual leaders, and even healthcare professionals. Doing the right referral to mental health people if we need to is also very important, and taking time to ask questions beyond just the physical, headaches and stuff like that, especially when some of them are coming down. You know how it goes when they come down with headaches, stomachache all the time instead of other things. There might just be something else going on that we should explore. So you've really covered a lot, and I really appreciate your time and you sharing your experience with us. I see Abdullah here. He talked about, can we say something about relationships and breakups? I'll have you say a word on that as we wrap up. And here, even though it's showing Facebook user, I checked, I see this is my sister from the UK, Satayo Igbitade. She's the one trying to do a recap of everything you've been saying, what parents should do, reflection, role modeling. Satayo, thank you so much for capturing all these points that Dr. Fatima had mentioned, and then school owners and educators. And she also talked about healthcare professionals here. So I really appreciate that. Oluwatoyin Ogudeji, thanks for joining today. I appreciate you. DJ Aziz. DJ Aziz is one of the superb supporters of this
True.
group.
I
He's
know.
always there. So thank you, DJ Aziz, for joining us as usual. Abdullahi Bukola, he's also a very great supporter. He takes interest in children. And I'm sure as we talk about children's mental health next month, he's going to feature somewhere. There's no way he won't feature. He loves children and children's mental health. Oida, thanks for joining. You made it today, and thanks for making contribution. So I not see any other person here. If you join DJ Aziz, he's still watching. You see, thank you. So yes, Dr. Fatima, can you say something about heartbreaks? Like Abdullah said, we should mention something about heartbreaks, and then we wrap up.
Okay, heartbreaks in terms of when adolescents get into relationship.
Let's see. He said you wouldn't know if this topic has been discussed. Adolescents and relationship heartbreak. Please mention it a little. I have some issues at hand. We should know what
Oh,
issues they
okay,
have.
okay. I'll just say something small, and then I'll push it back to Sisi Dayo to to say some things. Yes, I think this is another aspect that as parents we tend to shy away from, because we feel, well, they are still kids. They don't know anything about relationships. Unfortunately, in fact, we when we were growing up, we had what do they call this thing that you have. I've forgotten that you have somebody, you have crush, you have crush on somebody.
It still exists. It still exists.
Yeah, so we realize the truth is adolescents they are growing up, and like you said, hormones are waking up. They are attracted to the opposite sex. So what happens? What do we tell them when they get into? So the first thing also, like I stated, is for guardians and to parents to also Make them realize before it happens that yes, this thing is going to happen, whether you like it or not. You see a boy that you'd be interested in, you see a girl that you're interested in, no crimes, but remember you're still studying. These are the things you should do or you shouldn't do with the girl. And then you also ensure that you don't make yourself how would I say, selling yourself to somebody, like for girls, for instance, now, like forcing yourself on a boy or selling yourself to somebody, you know. So I don't know. I will just say a little about, and then she will say the remaining. So basically, it's for parents to prepare their minds that it's going to happen. But when it happens, what should you do? What should you do so that you don't get yourself your emotions trampled upon, and then you become so depressed, suicidal at the end of the day. So it's like balancing act as well. You are still in school, yes, just this person you're attracted to, just maintain a friendship zone, maybe for so period of time, and then these are the rules. Okay, don't be alone with this person, or so those things, just and then giving examples from our own lived experience, like, okay, I had somebody that did this one, this was the end of that person. And in case you are attracted to this particular boy or girl, but she's not showing interest, don't kill yourself. A lot of girls will still come your way. Just for now, focus on your studies, study very hard. A lot of girls will still come your way, a lot of boys will still come your way. So just take it easy on yourself, don't rush yourself. So, and then peradventure, if perhaps you were not privileged to talk to your child before this happens, the outbreak happens, then you don't try as much as possible to take it easy on him or her, such that the heartbreak doesn't get worse on the person. And then if you realize as a parent you can't handle the heartbreak that the girls is going or the boy is going through, then you need to seek intervention of a healthcare professional, such that it doesn't the boy or girl is not totally broken completely, that would result in suicidal thoughts or taking his or her life. So I think for me that's the progression it should be. But I will hand it over again to Auntie Dayo to just chip in.
Dr. Fatima, you said it all, but I want to share my personal experience to answer this question. So, growing up, I can remember two occasions that my father met a man in the house. I mean, let me not say man, a guy. One of them is a neighbor. Okay, the other one is actually a friend from school that's supposed my boyfriend. That we're still dating. And the look I got from my dad and the scolding I got from my dad that day, I never ever brought anybody to the house again. But guess what? I was going to their house. One of them, the neighbor, I wasn't going to the neighbor's house, but he's just a friend. But the boyfriend, I was going to their house. And in their house, his mom let me in. So people will say, oh, that's the guy. The mom will let you in. But for my dad, he would not let, a female's father would not allow that in the house. But in retrospect, I wish that maybe if my dad let more people in, I'm not blaming or faulting his parenting now, but I'm just saying, looking back and seeing where we are in this world now, that you have friends, if they're not even coming home, now they have phones, they have groups, they have the internet, they have Snapchat, they have everything that they can use to communicate without parents even knowing. At that time, in my time, they have to be physically there for us to see, or you use the phone to call, and they even lock the phone so you don't get to talk. But I was still going there. And my parents now, I see them in trouble knowing what was going on. But for the maybe some aunties, maybe my brother's girlfriends or stuff, that I'll say, oh, auntie, this is happening. And where they will tell me, oh, do this or don't do that. Heartbreak or falling in love or having a crush is a real thing at this age. Even though a lot of it you do not comprehend, we do not know about it, but to that adolescent, these feelings are real,
Yes.
regardless of what the parents think, they are real to them. So when you cut these things off, or when you ignore them, or when you let it just go away, we're doing more harm than good. Because what happens is you would not even know what is going on again. They will do it behind you, and you cannot even help what will happen at that stage. So as you said, talking to them about it in this age, because there's nothing the internet won't even answer or give them more answers that they want. But when heartbreaks happen, it will be healthy and it will be more supportive if parents listen. They don't discard it. What are you talking about? What do you mean heartbreaks? Go and face your studies. Go and do this. Process it. A lot of times it might be that there's been sexual engagements involved, that the female is feeling a sense of loss, like I've lost my virginity to this person, or I've lost my this to this person, or maybe they've even had a oath or a covenant that they've gone into, something crazy that they might have done. Or it might be that, oh, this person dumping your daughter, or this person dumping your son might mean something else to them in their group. Like he's been dumped, that oh, he's now gone for a better person, or this is what we've been saying. A lot of stuff going on. Let's not discard adolescent feelings. Let's listen, let's process it with them, let's support them at that time. And one thing that I've seen that holds true more than anything is when you build your child's self confidence. When you let your child know that they mean more than any other thing, that who they are comes from within and not material stuff, and not the money, and not their peers, and not the friend, not even your economic status as a family defined who they are. You let them know that. And thankfully, I have people around me that model that to their children, like their children's self-esteem, their teenagers' self-esteem. I have one person, like DJ W, who said when the daughter calls, say, "Hey, hi there, how are you?" He would answer his daughter's call. He would give that attention 100%, and I keep wondering, this is really nice. So before a man will come and make his daughter feel like nothing, in fact, she wouldn't even mind you. So self-esteem, it comes from within, and parents can boost this right from childhood, and that's what I'll say. But when it gets out of hand, like she said, please seek professional help to support your adolescent. And that's it. We'll stop there with the heartbreak thing. Abdullah, please reach out to Dr. Fatima if you want more. She works with a lot of adolescents, and
Oh,
will support you. So, all right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. To everybody that stayed till this time, thank you so much. We do appreciate your time. To my guest, Dr. Fatima, thank you so much for your time. I know you're very busy, there's a lot you're doing, and I particularly appreciate the fact that you support this group and everything that we do. I appreciate you a lot and everything you're doing in the adolescent world. So, to everybody watching, if you're interested in supporting, sponsoring anything that has to do with adolescent, I have people here for UNFPA, World Health Organization, in the military. If you want to do anything adolescent specific, this is the right person. She's done a lot of work, she has a lot of experience, and she would be able to do it. She needs more funding. I know she needs funding. We all know that, it's impossible to rely
see
on
hypo,
funding.
see hypo, my hype, madam.
But no, yeah, you're doing a lot. I see all the things you do. I saw what you did with the adolescent on Snake Island. That's not a joke. All those things you're doing. I've worked in the field before. A lot goes into the planning and stuff. So thank you so much for coming here. Support Adolescent Health Hub. Oida, thank you so much. Oida is my very good friend. We went to Babcock University together. She's always here to support. I just appreciate all the good people that I have around me. DJ Aziz is also saying thank you, Dr. Fatima, for stopping. We really, really appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. All right. So on this note, I will say your final word, and then I say our final slogan. Say your final word to us, and then you say your final slogan.
Okay, so thank you once again. I feel like I said earlier, very privileged and honored to be invited to your show because I've always admired the way you handle, and then she's so relentless, committed, and then you'll be wondering like, she doesn't need a break in your words. So I really appreciate all you've been doing. And I hope, and I'm very sure this is just the beginning of great things to come for my mental health matters. I really appreciate it. And like I stated earlier, let's take the adolescents seriously. They are special being in quotes, and we shouldn't sandwich them between children and adults. And then investments in them, like WHO said, is a triple gain. Healthy adolescents now, healthy adults and then healthy future generations. So please, let's pay attention to adolescents to ensure that they turn out to be meaningful human beings, and let's keep being committed as parents, as guardians, as policymakers and religious leaders. So thank you and have a blissful rest of the weekend.
All right. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And this is a part where I say, my mental health matters. What
Network
about
matters
yours?
too.
Bye. See
Right,
you next
bye.